Great. I'll say good morning to the people online. Good morning to the people online.
Good
Say
morning.
hey as you join us. All right. So we'll just energetically hold the space for anyone that may be joining us, if that feels good. Yeah, because we may have some people join us because timelines, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm Jane. Hey! And this is Expansions. So it's the spiritual dimension of wellness. Hashtag my favorite. Mom's joining us from Indiana. Mom, don't drink the tap water. I'll tell you more about this later. But for real, don't drink your tap water, okay? Okay.
Morning, everybody.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
My mom lives on the Ohio River. Not like on it, but like very near it. And so with all of the stuff that happened with the railroad that derailed in Palestine, Ohio, and how it's polluting all the waters.
Fish are dying, birds are dying.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yes, she's like, don't plan on it. Yeah, for real. Don't not even a shot of it, okay? Like not even a shot of it.
Would not recommend it.
No. Let her live. May they all live. All right. So I want to start us with just kind of grounding into here and now, because we have all lived a life since we were last here. Since we woke up this morning, we've all had some experiences. I don't know what. And I'm going to ring the tingshes. They're a sound in itself. An invitation is to listen to the sound waves as long as you can. And when the sound waves stop, just continue listening to your breath. There's no force control over the breath. If you want to start off taking a couple deep breaths in and just anchoring into your body. And when you exhale, just let your shoulders soften and just become really present. Become aware of your body, the weight of it in the chair on this earth, the lightness of your breath, the lightness of your spirit, the ease of your breath, the depth of it. And just settle into this now. And we can all just take a breath in together and let it go. So now we're all here. We're on the same page. Whatever page of now this is, we're all here. So I'm going to scoot forward because I can't see everybody. I like to see everybody. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of shit happening in the world right now, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know about you all, but like, I'm being faced with a spiritual challenge. And it's to hold a deep feeling of acceptance right now while I'm witnessing harm being done to life on earth and the earth herself.
Harm being done to your what?
To the earth and life itself, with all of the train derailments and the tanker trucks with hazardous chemicals that are polluting the water and the air right now so much that entire cities are having to be evacuated. And I think a lot of times we don't talk about the stuff that is hard and that sucks on the earth plane because a lot of us want to ignore it. Or when we talk about it, it's like, yeah, fuck this sucks, this is stupid. Or whose fault is it? Right? Whose fault is it? Who made the train derail? who was neglectful in the maintenance and who's going to take responsibility, right? So like there's this space of like retaliation and I need to make it right and who needs to pay for it. But to me, that's not really working on the spiritual component of what is happening. And for me, that's forming a really big space of acceptance and compassion. The compassion is flooding in for me. Like, I don't enjoy seeing life experience pain on the earth, the animals, people. I don't like it. And so what comes through for me is a lot of compassion. What I'm having a challenge with is accepting it. So I'm curious what you all are feeling about all this stuff, because this is like big stuff happening on the earth plane. Not all at once.
Wondering why FEMA's not been called in on all this stuff.
Yeah.
They're over there in Turkey.
FEMA's not in Turkey right now.
They ain't,
No, it's earthquake, that all the ambassadors left a couple of days before the earthquake happened.
I'm like saying, dude, you can't predict what God's gonna do.
No, but you can predict what HARP does.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, so you're experiencing,
And I'm glad
Wonder-
you mentioned that.
yeah.
Mhm.
So you're experiencing like confusion maybe. I'm like, why isn't FEMA going to these places? Why aren't these
State of emergency.
right? They haven't declared that, have they? I don't think
As far as I know, no.
Okay. So that's how you're feeling about it. What else?
I'm feeling some fear about some of that stuff because on top of that, what people seem to be ignoring a lot is the things going on over in Ukraine with Putin and stuff, and like the serious threat potential of like possible nuclear war with things getting going out of Ray with Putin basically saying he's gonna not follow after the little contract thing about the how much nuclear stuff they're gonna be having, and
When the news tells you to look this
So-
way, I think you should be looking.
I'm just a little
Yeah.
scared because well, things are bad enough with all these catastrophes happening, but if something like that goes the wrong way and he just gets whimsical one day and decides to light fire,
So
That's-
you're experiencing fear.
yeah.
So what I do want to do is hold this space so that we can share like our thoughts and feelings around it. What I also want to be clear about is not exacerbating it, right? Like I don't want to necessarily increase the fear or increase the confusion, like, right? Like I don't want to be like, oh my God, yeah, like what are we gonna do, right? Or this could be how bad it could get, right? Because my I don't want to make whatever feel worse. Would you sit back just a little? Ah, thank you so much. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
didn't even know we could move it back.
yeah. Thank you so much. Now I can see how that feels so much better. So like so I want to hold the space so we can like talk about, hey Charles, like talk about our thoughts and feels around it so that we can start to move through it and step into the spiritual aspect of how we can hold love and light and compassion and grace while we're moving through dark times. Right? Yeah.
That's kind of reminds me of my thoughts. So anytime I think about anything that's going on, wars to natural disasters, I've been trying to practice not getting so caught up in the what ifs and who's responsible, because just in my own life and experiences, that's how I got so sucked in. It's been so caught up in how do I prevent this, or how do I make sure this doesn't happen. And on the spiritual aspect of things, and what I'm finding out now, and I keep trying to practice, is all these things are just their life and their experiences. And in the spiritual sense of things, it's because there's always negative energies just trying to get us to isolate ourselves. You know what I mean? Anytime fear is about, that's the first thing people want to do. Go out to get them, isolate myself. I ain't gonna be around them. I don't want to get sick. I ain't gonna be around them because I need to keep all my resources. When in actuality, I feel like that's the time we really need to get in ourselves and realize that the earth and things are just gonna be what they are. But if we keep coming together, the person next to you might have something from their past that can help you survive, to help you treat the water, but you don't know because we're too busy isolating ourselves.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing and speaking to that. I'm going to go more into that. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you for that.
What's our session today?
Right now,
Yeah, for today.
that's what it is. It's about right now.
About right now.
Yeah, just
Well,
talking
right
about how there's a lot of stuff happening right now on the earth, namely in the United States. Like there's stuff happening all around the world. Hey, good morning. It's good to see you. Keeping it focused on the United States, like what's happening, and just navigating how we can stay in love and light and acceptance while witnessing really hard things to witness.
Well, right now it looks like they're building some new complexes around here, some new high rises.
Mhm.
But the hard part is that we have a big population of homeless people. They're standing just about every sign, every interstate. It's like everywhere you go, near the Uptown area and the bridge, you'll see tents. You'll see just standing at the side of the road, just holding up their sign.
Mhm.
But the better part is maybe they can get some help from somebody, like get some clothes, food, shelter.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they're making an attempt to actually get outside and face the weather conditions. I mean, it's not the best life to live, but at least Charlotte's getting better at maybe helping the homeless people stay out of the cold weather and snow, because it's pretty much been this year. I've hated it outside and haven't gotten a chance to walk outside when the sun's out.
Mhm.
And of course, Charlotte, it's just been like over there, apartments outside of the plaza and Central Avenue. We even have that road closed down. Is that Central Avenue this way?
Mhm.
Yeah, we have that road closed down that way. So
Yeah.
it just means that we need to be more aware of our surroundings, pay attention.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Kind of reminds me about kind of staying connected in the community, right? Not going inward, but kind of going back outward. How's everybody else feeling about all this stuff that's kind of going on?
I don't worry about it, going with it. It's that we got part of the solution, part of the problem.
Mhm. So what are you doing to be a part of the solution?
I help me.
Okay. What does that look
Everybody
like?
else, that I deal with, I help them. Because you can't help the whole world change the world. Only thing you can change yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When you look down deep inside yourself, you'd be surprised what you got down there that can come out and help you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look down deep. It takes time.
Yeah.
And you got to be serious with yourself.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Really, because I say a lot, 75 years old, I say a lot, man. This world ain't nearly like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not putting nobody down, but the majority of the young people, they don't have no respect.
Mhm.
And they don't realize that, that's what that's like, okay, a long ways in life. Because you won't be judgmental to yourself or nobody else,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm having a challenge in not holding judgment right now, because of the lack of support that is being offered to our brothers and sisters that are here in the United States. I'm having a hard time not holding judgment, like to the to FEMA, that just the people that are testing the waters, that are altering the results and saying that they're different than what they are.
The data.
Yeah, the data is being changed. They're bold-faced lying and saying that something is safe. And we've known that they've been doing this to all of us our whole life. You know, we know that they put chlorine and fluoride in our tap water. We know that. We know that it literally messes with our neurological patterns in our brain, and it doesn't allow us to see out of the third eye.
Fluoride especially.
Yeah. You know, so like we know this. We know that the system is not desiring for us to be healthy and well. We know that, right? And we've accepted that, have we not? Because none of us are in this room revolting against the tap water. We have accepted these facts, right? We have, and I think that that's a really beautiful place for us to be, so that we're not all freaking out and stressed out about tap water and bathing in it. Oh my God, I'm absorbing it, right? Because nobody needs that feeling. None of us need that. Right? So then how can we take this type of acceptance, accept the other stuff, but then at what point do we stop it? What point do we stand up? Do we make a change? Like what point do we come out of our introverted fear bodies and come together? Where do we as a humanity shift where we can be light and loving and kind and compassionate and accepting? So I don't need to change the system. Right? I don't need to change the system, but what I can do is create a new system through how I treat myself and how I treat other people. Right. You know, am I going to see someone that is shivering cold and go, well, sorry, somebody's not taking care of you? Or do I give them a jacket because I have 80,000 of them? Right? Like that's up to each individual person. And I'm still having a challenge feeling in my body peace and joy around what's happening with all of the very intentional, I'm going to use the word attacks, although that feels dramatic, but I'm going to use it, attacks on entire towns through poisoning. Yeah.
Since you mentioned like fluoride, since the 80s, it just seems like if you just make an extra effort to understand the chemicals they want you to put on your body. So like since the 80s, when I use any kind of deodorant, I look to make sure it doesn't have aluminum in it. So, you know, when you put aluminum in your lymph nodes, that basically dumbs you down in the brain. Mm-hmm. And most people, they're just so busy, they don't look at these small things. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're taught that we're not supposed to smell. Like that's what so it starts with. It doesn't matter right? What it takes to make you not smell. Yeah. Like we're taught that being a natural human is disgusting and that none of us need to smell at all like a human. Don't be smelling like onions if you're sweating. God forbid. But what you need to smell like is some synthetic fragrance, some Axe body spray or whatever. Meanwhile, not only do you need to smell like this like really fake thing so that you can be accepted, but you also need to be completely poisoning your blood.
Well, how you know what they're putting in this, all these ingredients ain't poisoning your blood that you don't know about?
Exactly. Exactly. Because like, I mean, you know, when we read the ingredients labels on everything, it tells us what's in it.
But you don't know the meaning of it.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the side effects.
Yeah, we don't, you know, and so it's like, okay, so now I'm looking at everything now. So now I have to be the knowledge-based consumer that looks at my deodorant and says, I don't know what these are. So I can either take the time and like look them all up, or I can find something that I can say, okay, I know what these 5 ingredients are. You're right. Okay. I know that, or I'll make my own, like whatever it is, like, but that's it, taking these steps. And it's admitting that like what I've been doing to myself is harmful and being okay that other people are doing it, being okay that it's still being sold and marketed to even children, you know, like I'm having a challenge. Oh, and with the back to what you were saying, like, you know, all this stuff that's like poisonous to the human. The stuff that's not poisonous to the human most often is like earth-based. I know everything is earth-based because it's not like they're flying stuff in here from the moon and being like, here's the poison. Y'all know what I mean, right? Like more natural, plant-based, right? And then, so then what I'm watching is them hurting the earth and taking away the stuff that actually is here designed by the divine mother earth to keep us healthy and alive. It's like the they is harming the mother to the point where she's breaking and we have nowhere else to go beyond the ice walls because we can't go by there, but that's another story.
You like making a cake.
Huh?
You like making a cake. Where the ingredients gone, ain't nothing there.
Yeah, exactly.
All my neighbors are vegetarians, but I've been one about 7 months. I don't eat no meats. I don't eat all I eat is veggies out of our garden. I don't eat that.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing. Like, I've had a garden now since 2020. That was when it really started because what else was I doing? You know, I was online for here and I was gardening. So cool. And, you know, so every year I add more, right? And every year it becomes more work for me. And then I'm like, okay, well, I can freeze some stuff and I want to share it, but I can't afford to give it away because I don't have anything else coming in. You know, so it's like I had a bunch of beets. I froze a lot of beets. It'd be nice if I could have given half my beets away, but also like received something, you know, avocado in return, you know, to make it an abundant buffet. Like the overwhelming feelings of last Tuesday. Like the buffet, but in a good way. So yeah.
I think this system is designed for everybody in the world to catch something.
Like catch something sickness wise?
Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
Cancer, especially.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with the vinyl chloride that was in the train in Palestine, Ohio, when it's burned, it creates another chemical. And when it's breathed in, it's extremely carcinogenic. And basically people drown because their lungs fill up so fast and it's a quick death. And they're telling people that it's safe to go back. They're telling people it's safe.
When you see the birds and the fish dead as a doornail.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something,
Yeah.
the data's not matching
The reality.
Right.
That third eye, open it up.
Right. And that's the thing that I remind myself, like, as all this bad stuff happens, right, that there's a reason for it. You know, it's kind of like, it's only when I was looking at my own shit could I begin to heal. If everybody could make sure you cover your mouths when you cough, I would really appreciate that. If that feels good to everybody. Okay, cool. Just because I want to keep us all healthy and well. So if you can cough like in your arm, I would appreciate that. So anyway, it wasn't until I was able to look at my own shit could I really start to heal it, right? I couldn't ignore the fact that I had experienced X, Y, and Z traumas and that my coping mechanism was distraction through substances and unhealthy patterns, right? But I had to really look at what happened to just acknowledge that stuff, right? I had to bring the darkness to the light so that I could heal it and clear it. So I'm thinking about this on a bigger scale. I'm like, well, what if all this stuff that's happening is we see the system that is blatantly not only not caring about our brothers and sisters on this earth plane, we've seen it locally, right? We've been seeing this shit locally forever, you know, and we've seen it like when it comes to other countries, you know, on the TV or whatever they're telling us. But to see it so big, it's like, oh, well, there's a little Chernobyl there in Ohio, and look, nobody's sending help. It's kind of like a smack in the face of how dark and evil or traumatizing and traumatized that is. You know, it's like really seeing that darkness to the fullest so that we can be the change. We can make the change. So I'm holding on to that. Like that's what I'm holding on to, right? Like when I'm watching all this stuff go down, like there was a tanker truck that just flipped over in Arizona. Really hazardous chemicals. Like they're telling people you gotta get away. Like it's all over the place.
And people's got phones, so they're all automatically videoing
Oh,
before
yeah.
the news has even a chance to look at it.
Yeah,
Look what's going on right here.
yeah. And you know, and when we really think about it, right? So like, you know, I always like to follow the trail, right? Hansel and Gretel, do y'all remember that story?
Oh, the bread.
Creepy story if you think
Yeah.
about it, yo. Like it's like, oh look, I'm gonna follow the breadcrumbs so we can make our way out. And all of a sudden we're in a like oven. No, creepy lady in the woods. Anyway, that was a sidetrack, y'all know. Anyway, but I like to follow the trail because I like to see all the players in what's happening, right? It's like I want to see all the pieces of the Monopoly board before I can choose if I'm going to pick the thimble or the dog or whatever, right? So when I'm looking at all these things that are happening on this earth plane right now, I'm like, okay, so it all goes back to the same groups. It goes back to BlackRock. It goes back to Vanguard and Bill and Melinda Gates.
The richest people who try to push their agenda on you.
Yeah, because they're gonna make money, you know. And so like talking from like owning the rail lines, owning what's in the rail cars, farmland. Bill and Melinda Gates and Bill Gates himself have bought more land now, and they're buying more land in Ohio to create farmland to feed us with the food that they're growing on now toxic soil.
Oh, that's great.
Right. So like kind of seeing that, but then they also, you know, like Vanguard and BlackRock also own Pfizer. Oh, and Moderna. Oh, okay, wait. And all these other drug companies. Oh, now it's starting to make more sense. Oh, wait, now they also own Duke Energy. Oh, all the power stations have been being attacked. Oh, wait, they want to control the grid. Oh, they want to control the water system and the infrastructure. Okay, so now I'm seeing this all clearly, right? Okay, so now they've always been doing this, but it's starting to come into the awareness as things are literally exploding around. So then I asked myself, and I put it out here to all of us here, like, then how do we, knowing that the system is that corrupt, we know it's been corrupt, but like we're really seeing how corrupt it is, like in the masses. So then how do we actually feel and be in acceptance, and how do we act in courage and come out and be there for each other? What does it look like? Yeah.
This is just another scenario. You know, everybody thinks that getting an electric car solves everything, but the big picture is when you're driving in that car, you can only go 300 some miles. So that's their agenda, to keep you basically near your home. So where you can't go past anywhere.
Yeah. Well, they're making,
Simple as that.
have you all heard of the 15-minute cities that they're creating?
I've heard some about it, but I don't know much
So
about
have you heard
it.
about it, the 15-minute cities? So they're making 15-minute cities.
15-minute city.
Yeah, so basically you go everywhere in a 15-minute radius, and if you need to go somewhere outside of your zone, you have to have a pass.
Is
Yeah.
that serious?
Yes, they've already started in other countries, and they're starting it here in the United States.
It's almost like some Logan
fly?
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know they're gonna fly.
No, you have to go around. You have to have passes, whether it's a passport that you have a driver's license, or that you've paid certain taxes, or that you've had a vaccine, or like you have to prove, maybe it's a social credit score or whatever method they're going to try
That's
to
another
implement.
thing.
Well, they're making-
Social credit score.
Yeah.
A lot of people ain't going nowhere.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
To make more money.
And control America.
Control is the
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah.
Control, like robots. Robots.
What were you going to say?
You know, the world getting weak and wiser. We don't realize we do things that the harm, the whole thing happen fast. The man that create this, create that, he want things to happen fast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about money, it ain't about the love of each other, it's about the human
beings.
Yeah. But, kind of thinking about that, like the man created all this, right? This is ran, like this, all of these things that are being ran are ran by older white men. They are, right? And, and so I'm sitting in a room with a bunch of men other than Kim and me. Well, and wait, I think, she was back there. If there's someone else that I'm not seeing, yeah. And anyone else that I'm saying, but we're sitting in a room predominantly of men, right? And men are known to be action takers, right? That's the masculine energy. Women have masculine energy too. Men have feminine energy. It's all different energies. It's different whether we're giving or receiving, right? Whether we're focused or we're being intuitive, it's a balance, right? So now sitting here in this room of men, for the most part, like we can't, we're not here, I don't think, to take down the system. We're here to create a new one. What does that look like? Yeah, a better system.
Right.
I just learned this morning that, everybody's seen on their phone or their computer where it says, check for I'm not a robot. Well, when you check it, supposedly it sends all kinds of data of your surfing history to somebody.
Mhm.
And I never thought about that taking any of your data, but,
Oh yeah,
They sell it.
oh yeah, most definitely.
yeah.
I feel like with Wallace, it all ties down for me into one thing is motives. You know what I mean? The people who are pulling the strings, so to speak. What I'm not questioning why they do this or why they do that, because obviously they're doing this for a reason, to get ahead for whatever reason. But what I question is their motives. And so then it makes them look at me. And the only way to change, because you can't change every person. I can't change this man. I can't change that one. I can't change whoever is pulling that I don't know. But what I can do is check my own motives. And by doing that for our individual selves and checking our motives, it's going to put us in places where others are going to see it, or others are going to be like-minded. And once you start getting like-minded people in the same room with the correct motives, that's when change comes. Not because you have to sit out and plot a plan, because that's the same thing they're doing.
Mhm.
They just have like-minded people with the same motives. And all they're saying is, well, we have this motive and we're going to do it until somebody else comes with their motives and that makes us stop. And as far as like why this stuff, the chemicals and everything that's poisoning the earth are the same chemicals that we're taking from the earth.
Mhm.
So Mother Earth and the spiritual is saying, just like us and like anything else, you cannot keep taking out without putting something back. And so nature itself is just saying, okay, well, since you're not going to give it back, we're going to give it back to ourselves, one way or the other.
Thank you for sharing that.
I think we
Hang
should
on,
listen.
wait, I wanna sit with that. Like, you shared a lot, and I like, and I'm grooving on that. When I think about the earth herself, she's a self-cleaning system, right? She heals herself every time. She has since before humans were ever a concept in the cosmos, right? So she goes through her own birth, life, death, rebirth, and shift of consciousness, right? She's going to be fine. So that helps me kind of feel more accepting of when I see the stuff that's happening to the earth without consent. Like no one is like praying before the earth before they drill a big pipeline. Nobody is saying, Mother, is it okay, and feeling that and making it a spiritual connection for the consciousness of her. And we see how this plays out with how we treat others or women in general or our own mothers or our whoever. I mean, we see this play out in the micro and the macro. So I remind myself, like, okay, the earth is healing herself, right? And it's not until maybe she shakes it up that we say, okay, I guess we need to get off our asses and remember that we're on something bigger, right? Which starts to connect more people with the spiritual aspect of life, because spirituality is connecting with something bigger, whatever that is to anyone. It's connecting with something bigger, a bigger feeling, a bigger place, a bigger being, a bigger whatever. And then it's like that kind of understanding the motives, right? I feel that the motives of the puppet people, right, that are pulling the strings are forgetting that we are the marionettes of life and we can cut those strings, and that's free will. And then we have the motive, we can do that, and then we get the motive to move freely, right? And how do I now dance about life? How do I come together and say, hey, I want to grow things in a garden. Is there anyone here that would? Oh, look, 10 other people raise their hand. Hey, we have a space here at Pier. Hey, can we create a community garden? You know what I mean? And like taking the action steps and putting in the work. That may mean getting your hands dirty or committing to something and being held accountable by your own higher self to say, you know what? I said I wanted this, and damn it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up. I don't care if it's raining or if it's cold out or if it's blazing saddles hot. I'm going to have my hands in the garden because I said I wanted this, because not only will it feed me, it's going to feed my community. Oh, wait, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to create a change.
Well, that's the way
Right?
it should. That's the way it was back growing up.
Right.
We ate off the land.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we ate off the land.
Yeah.
We grow everything.
Mhm.
And the same thing you just said.
Yeah.
Now,
Now we have children in this now
Mhm.
who are afraid of trees.
Hmm.
I never thought this was possible, but there are children who grow up in urban areas that never see real trees in real dirt, and they have an actual trauma response. Their nervous system is responding because they feel fear of trees and animals. And there's no judgment on them. It's just that's how far disconnected they are from the mother.
But they ain't afraid of this though.
Right. Right. Right.
That's
Because
what's probably changing.
yeah, because we've been told that the more we're smart, the more we understand, that we'll be more successful, we'll be more profitable, right? And those aren't necessarily truths, but they're lies that we've been told to live in. We've been told to believe them and make them our reality, right? You know, Ronald had something to say, and you also had something to say.
Does this have to do with anything, isn't a lot of these medications that we take is even worse, because they have chemicals in it? Because they
Yeah,
have side effects to it.
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, for sure. Yeah, they make more money the sicker we are.
And then you need medications for the side effects of your medication.
Yeah. And it just keeps building on itself. What were you gonna say?
Just like you were saying about the earth, right? Mother Earth take care of herself, right?
Mhm.
But guess what? What good is Mother Earth taking care of herself when you got all these people that's polluting this earth? In other cases, Mother Earth really ain't doing nothing. When you really look at it.
Well, will you expand on that? She doesn't, what do you mean?
Okay, you say Mother Earth take care of herself, right?
Mhm.
What good is Mother Earth taking care of herself when you got all these plants that's putting out all this stuff
Okay,
floating
gotcha.
around?
Gotcha. So this is what I see when you say this. It's kind of like, has anyone ever been in an abusive relationship with someone else or yourself?
Well, sometimes I was bad.
Exactly, right? We've all experienced an abusive relationship in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so imagine I have someone that keeps cutting my arm. Okay, they just keep cutting it. Eventually, I'm either gonna die out because I'm not getting enough time to heal, right? I don't have enough time to heal. I'm bleeding out too much. And then what do? I die and I go back to the earth. Or eventually one of the people stops cutting me. Okay, so that little spot can start to heal. And then it takes another spot that's okay, now that can start to heal. Eventually I'm going to heal it and I'm going to end up being stronger and I'm going to have scars and marks and stories to tell so that others learn how to not hurt anyone else and how we can heal ourselves, right? These are the stories that the indigenous and our ancestors have been passing down. They just were never so attacked in such massive, what's it called when you put it on the screen?
Projection.
Yeah. Like, you know, when we look back at all humans ever, they've all had this happen, you know, where they were poisoned and killed, every last one of them. And there were survivors that told about it. This is the only time in existence that we've had it televised, where we're seeing it in the now, the real time, because people, it's not just like the news media that's like, oh, look, I'm going to show it from this angle. It's literally people that are on the ground and they're showing it. So that means that we're seeing it in real time. We're also seeing it and feeling the fullness of that pain and that fear, right? So all that to say, that goes back into let the earth start to heal herself. So we got to stop. What does that mean? Oh, that means we got to start growing our food again. Oh, we have to come out of isolation. We have to talk to people about things that we fucking care about. Right? Yeah.
That just brought to mind, when you're saying that, the earth is not healing itself. So I always try to think about me and just the process of going through. Well, I feel like the earth has a story to tell. The reason why in older days, from my understanding, the indigenous and the way that things work is because things were being taught and passed on. Nobody knew not to attack the tiger going at his mouth until somebody got bit. So they had to pass that along. The way that technology is going now, things are passed along quicker. But the thing that I have realized that we keep forgetting is this is still telling a story. So in itself, it's feeding itself. In recovery, the reason why it's able to heal and help others is because somebody somewhere is deciding to tell their story, the pains and the triumphs. So that's how the healing works. You have to have both.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And to add on to that, I feel that what we're doing is we're just retelling the story of the pains that are happening. Like no one is like, I lived through the tiger bite.
Right.
No one is saying, like, I think a lot of people are sharing, like, this is how I saved myself, right? We could all tell the story of how we saved ourselves.
We're living in pain now.
Right.
You let that know there's pain out there now.
And there's also life and beauty. So, like, but
Yeah.
thinking about this, like, we can all tell the
It used to
story.
be like that.
So we can all tell the story of how, like, I healed myself and how you healed yourself. You got yourself out of addiction or recovery or this or that relationship. Like, you're the one to tell that story of how you saved yourself. Now, the question I pose is, when do we start telling the story of how we saved ourselves? How we did it? How we came together? That's a different story to tell. And we're not going to see that shit on screen, right? We have to embody that. We have to do that. We have to be that. And it's in the we form. It's not us saying, oh, that was a great experience that I had together. Bye, see you next week. No, it's afterward going up and being like, hey, what's your name? I enjoyed talking to you. Would you be willing to like go for a walk with me? Or, like it's actually connecting. Hey, you said you lived on the land. What did you used to grow? You know what I mean? It's actually making like real human connections, because without that, then there's no inspiration for anyone else to see that it can be done. Right? Because we're told that like it's our parents. Our parents have to take care of us. No, they're not. They're not. It's up to us as peers, right? To come together and to take action so that whenever the rest of this system does crumble, because it is starting to crumble, that we will be fine, because we're already fine. We already have a strong community. We already have land. We already have all the stuff that we need and more. But I personally don't want to wait until my house is a shambles before I start to clean it. I'd rather go ahead and start tidying it so that when the guest arrives, it's just let me just fluff a pillow, and not like, oh shit, I gotta go. Because when we're in that mind space, then we're trying to be in the head too much, and then we're not following the heart. If we're not following the heart, we're not acting as spiritual beings. I saw so many hands. I saw Ronald's first, and then yours, and then yours. Does that feel good?
So sooner or later, the system is going to end up exposing itself of its own secret.
Yes. And many of us already know it, and we've already accepted it because we have a deeper understanding of why they're hiding. And it's kind of like if you've ever known someone, yourself or someone else, and you've known that they were, say, addicted to something, but you had a deeper understanding as to why. You understand deeper. You have more compassion. You don't accept their behaviors, but then when they do finally heal or transition, one of the two, it's like, oh, okay, I want to keep living now. So yeah, thank you for that. What were you gonna say?
The world now is living a lot of fear. You don't realize that. The world is living a lot of fear now. This world now is like a horror movie. And I hate to say it like that, that's for real.
It really is.
For the younger people, not talking about nobody, understand. For the younger people, we don't have no respect. And once you lose respect, you lose your dignity. I don't care who you are. You have to look at the next person for his hate. That could be me.
Racist.
Yeah.
And then you look at yourself.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
You say, you know what? I'm gonna grow today. But before we allow ourselves to grow, we rather pull the next man down.
And that's not even in our nature. That's just what we're shown on enough movies and shit to where we think that's normal. It's actually in our nature to help. It is in our nature to hold a door for someone and not shut it in their face. Our heart is what calls us to do that. And that's why when we start to see this, like they're showing so much with like video games and movies and stuff like that to desensitize children and adults, humans, I'll just say humans of all ages, to desensitize us to it so that when we see it in real life, our heart is like, whatever, right? It numbs down spirit, right? It numbs down love. We're told that it's normal. We normalize it. We normalize fear. We normalize pain and suffering, as opposed to saying, wow, I see pain and suffering and I don't like it. And how can I be of service? You know, whether it's just acknowledging like, yeah, you're in pain and suffering. I don't like that. Is there anything I can do? You know, and maybe there's nothing to do. Hang on a sec, because I was wanting to hear what you had to say.
My main story, the story has been told, but didn't nobody listen. Until 20 years down the road, now you want to listen. When Al Gore came out and said global warming, everybody thought he was crazy. But now look at it now.
Well, and you know, so part of my life journey, so like I got my like schooling and degree or whatever in psychology and all that stuff. I also double minored in geology and earth science. So like the earth has always been a deep love of mine, and just the magic of her and how she changes and provides us everything. And she's changing regardless of us.
With some help.
You know, she is. She's changing regardless because we have magnetic poles that move. And when the poles move, certain things freeze fast and other things that are frozen unfreeze real fast. So that just changes everything, right? So like these things happen. And then the funny thing about when Al Gore was talking about the global warming stuff, if it brings attention to loving the earth, that's great. If it brings fear and guilt and shame, then that has an agenda. So the propaganda that I felt with that, although I was like, go Team Earth, duh. I also was like, wait a minute, you're blaming humans for her natural changes. And you're not offering us solutions on how to use less fossil fuels. Instead, you just stand on a platform and now you're calling yourself Greta Thunberg, who's just a little puppet. But now she's in a little girl body, so everybody has to respect her because she's a kid. She's still a part of this agenda to create a world religion based on a carbon footprint and a social score, as opposed to honoring with reverence and tradition the earth. It's very interesting. So being able to like love all of this, to me is the work. For me, it's been the work, is to be able to stay in love and acceptance during all of this stuff that I'm seeing. Understanding that it is all still just part of the holographic reality that we live in because we are just energy. We're just atomic particles bouncing off each other. And that we can make a difference so that the stories that are told are of us. The stories that are told are of us. That there was a group of humans who were alone. They were hurting themselves. They were hurting each other on the streets. Oh my God, these people hated each other. Tooth and nail, they fought. They hated themselves so much that they would drink themselves silly. They would take drugs like it was their job. They would sell anything and hurt anyone that got in their way. They don't care. And then something shifted. And they started to wake up a little bit. And they started to love who they were. And they were wanting to discover who they were designed to be. And they changed and they became these beings who. They became these humans who remembered who they were. They remembered love. They remembered compassion. They stood in their strength and their knowledge and their wisdom. They grew and they fed their community with love and resources. These are the stories that I want to hear passed down.
The stories that will be told of us,
Exactly.
just like the stories way back before us.
Exactly.
We will be told, read about
Yeah.
from the robots.
Yeah. So that means that we get to continue moving forward. Yeah, right. The robots will come. But like, so we get to, so that's what I really want to, we're coming up on spring, and that's a time of when, we start to get this energy to start doing more, right? It's the natural next season of our life. Like, what's going to grow? Well, what if we're the ones growing it? We're growing conscious communities. We're growing conscious conversations and connections. We're growing gardens, right? We're growing networks. We're growing means to filter water regardless. Like we're just doing it. Right? So maybe this is a year of action. And maybe all that we're seeing is just those last little sparks to get us fired up, to understand that what we are here for is for a greater purpose than just me feeling better. It's for me to feel better and then share what I've learned, because I learned how to feel better. There was a process for Jane to feel better in all ways, right? So I'd like to close with that energy of like, you know what, we're all here for a purpose. That we can go out and we can be this change. We can create new systems. We can offer the medicine of our ancestors that were passed down for a reason, and that we can take that knowledge and that medicine and make it with our own essence and our own experience and knowledge to share in ways that we can only see. That we're creating completely new systems, completely new realities. And in my opinion, it takes a very big, open, compassionate heart that is able to accept everything in all ways and still be focused on our path and the path of the whole that is here to survive and make it to the next level of life. Whatever that next level of life is, the unknown, keep it open and curious. I want to go ahead and end, and then we can continue if that feels good.
Back in the
Hang on, I would like to go ahead and close, and then we can continue, if that makes sense. Okay, is that okay though?
About unity.
Okay, go ahead.
I say back in the day there was unity. Back in you remember that there was unity. People cared about each other. They this is not just like this. Now they just like this. Everybody for themselves.
Yeah.
And you can see that in this world.
Yeah. I met an elder couple yesterday on a walk, and they were in their 90s, and they were getting ready to move into a home on their children's property. And so we were just having this conversation, and they said, "Do you know this church?" And I was like, "I have no idea what church you're talking about." And they were like, "Oh, it's great. Follow us on Facebook." And then they said, "Not many young people come." And I see that there is a generational gap between community and true fellowship and congregation in love. We don't have spaces for that. We don't have churches for that, because the churches are still ran by the older white patriarchy. So we get to be the unity. We get to act in unity. We get to show up in community. And it's in ways that I don't think we've ever done before, not with the diversity of the real community that we are in. So.
They already has the seeds. You plant all this, turn it into chemical. The seeds they have and the machines they have, that's what's killing us.
Yeah, and that's why
That's what we're talking about.
yeah, and that's why we go and we say,
They pulling
hey,
that off the ground. They already done took us in the ground,
yeah.
killed the earth.
So on
So
the
they
note,
already have all the seeds.
so
They
they
think they do.
they think they do. So we have access to so many things. We have access to seeds that we can go ahead and start acquiring for 25 cents a pack, right? And we can get some still And then we can go to places that have little plots of land and say, this is what I want. I want to grow this. I want us to grow this together. It's not just on me. Can we do this together? Right? Whatever that looks like. So I'd like to just end with a little meditation, just to hold a certain vision, if that feels good. So just take a deep breath in and just let it go. And as you start to just soften your eyes and deepen into your body and into your heart, become aware of the powerful nature of you, of your mind, of your love, and all the wisdom that you hold of your ancestors and you. And hold the vision of a new earth. See what it looks like for all beings of all ages, of all backgrounds, to be together in the land, on the land, with the land. See them all in the sunshine, being able to drink the water, play in the water, look at the trees, play with the animals, see everything and feel it in your body so much that it makes you want to get up out of this chair in this now moment and play with them. Let this be the only reality that you hold in your mind, no matter what distractions and distortions were shown outside of us that others are experiencing. That we can love and accept them for their painful experience. We can form a greater sense of compassion for what everything else is moving through as we are. And that we are still committed to holding this vision of peace and abundance on earth for all. We'll trust that this has already been made so. And so it is. Take another deep breath in. And just let it go. So we'll just hold that vision. We'll just hold this vision and we'll trust that whatever right action we need to take, we will. Whatever path we need to create, we'll create. Whatever steps we need to take, we'll step in and we'll do what we need to do. And we'll just walk in a lot of faith and a lot of trust as we continue to move through the most epic shift in human consciousness and reality. Does that feel like a deal? I'd appreciate it. I think the more the merrier to hold this vision, because a lot of people are having a challenge in holding a vision of something better. Okay. I'm really grateful that y'all were here with me today and having this conversation. Because like I said, it's been a challenge for me, just to hold, like, being in acceptance and being okay with everything and still feeling like I don't like this. I don't like that they're hurting the mother and I don't like that people are dying. I don't like it. I don't like it. Like, I think we all reach our breaking point, and I'm like, I'm not at it, but I'm teetering. I'm nearing it. So I'm grateful that we had this conversation because it kind of pulled me back. So I appreciate everyone's input and presence in sharing. I always do. So thanks for being here, y'all. And I'll be here Tuesday, 11:30. We'll talk about more body stuff, more mental stuff. And then I take a little time off in March. So I will be pre-recording these.
Oh, like you did when you went out of town?
Yeah, so I'll be pre-recording, and I think that there'll still be classes being held here, but if you want to catch the vibe of what I'm still putting out, you can catch it on YouTube.
Let you know.
I
Don't
appreciate
forget.
that you do that.
Yeah.
Closed. We don't
Because
have a way of letting people know right now.
forgot about it
Can
for
you
a little
sign
bit
that
because I was hearing
Yeah, I
verses
did.
for what was going on
Oh, you
here.
did this one?
Oh, wait, yeah, it is
Yeah.
online, so I kind
So
of
you
tracked
get a
it
tour.
down.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I like your perspective on your approach to this stuff.
Well, thank you for that reflection. I appreciate that. I want to thank everybody online for tuning in. I love y'all.
And Daryl, can you sign more